Hi everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Fly Time Tea. I think this is day number 4, but honestly I'm losing track. When I say they got the butter from the duck today, I'm not exaggerating. So I'm exhausted and I'm not finished with my day. So I had a long day of travel yesterday from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and arrived in Buenos Aires, Argentina about 11 o'clock last night. I'm staying in a really nice Airbnb, which is basically a one-bedroom apartment in the area called Palermo. Palermo is like the equivalent to Soho, where you find a lot of restaurants, galleries, and shops. So it's a nice place. It was the area was highly recommended, and so I haven't had any concerns. Have a few thoughts for today. One is about security. Not so much here, but certainly when I was in Brazil, before you even go to Brazil, all you hear about is be careful. There's, lots of theft and crime. I have to tell you, I have not felt unsafe, not one time during this trip. Now that said, I'm West Philadelphia, born and raised, so I have a certain sensibility about me when I move around the world. Because I grew up in the city. So, as we like to say, I keep my head on a swivel. I'm aware of my surroundings. And most importantly, I've learned to trust my instincts over time. And they've never served me wrong. So I follow my gut about people, places, and things, and I don't take unnecessary chances. So I have not had any issues related to security. My biggest concern actually has been keeping my devices fully charged and, carrying around all the equipment that I need to take pictures and all the right power cords and things like that. My biggest fear really is that my phone will die and I'll be stuck somewhere and can't get access to Uber. But fortunately, that hasn't happened so far. In Argentina, like in Brazil, the people are very warm and friendly and cordial. Everything is well organized here. People stand in line to get the bus. The streets are clean. You don't see a lot of trash and dirt everywhere. And it's really a chill kind of vibe. So I don't feel like I stand out, although I don't see many black people that look like me. But I don't feel uncomfortable at all. And like I said, people have been very warm and friendly. One of the interesting things is that I have met a number of Americans. Now, generally, I'm not that interested in meeting Americans because I travel to get away from home, actually, but I've met a few people. So one person I met, and you'll find her photo over on the community side. Her name was Diana, and she's traveling solo as well. She's from Maine, and she actually, this is her last stop after a 7-day cruise that she took from New York to Portugal, to the Canary Islands, and then down to Rio and to Buenos Aires. So her last day, I think, is tomorrow, and she'll be heading back home. But she and I had a really nice time on the tour today, chatting about our shared interest in travel and some of the places we had visited. So it was nice to meet Diane, and if you find your way to this page, I really enjoyed our conversation and our time together today. I met another American family. I actually saw them at the cemetery I went to, which is where we saw Eva Perón's grave, and I'll say more about that later. But I saw them, and it was an African-American man and his family. The wife, I think, was Asian, and their 2 daughters were traveling. And so I ran into them there, and then I saw them again in an area called, I think it's called Camito. What's it called? Caminito, which is a nice little area with artists and shops and things like that, and it's right near the waterfront. So this time, we made eye contact when we saw each other initially, but this time I decided to speak. Lo and behold, he is from Philadelphia, from South Philadelphia, no less, where almost all of my family on both sides come from. He grew up on Ringgold Street. So it is so funny. I don't care how far away from home I get, just like Africa is never far, Philadelphia is never far either. I always run into somebody from Philadelphia. I don't understand it. But they're here on vacation too. So it was really nice to meet them and get to chit chat for a little while. They live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and as as some of you know, we did a road trip about 2 years ago that took us to Tulsa to visit the Greenwood area and learn all about the history there. So it was really nice. Another thing about the people here, I was in this community trying to get back to my apartment, and Ubers didn't appear to be available, so I was getting ready to get a taxi. So the taxi driver said to me, he said, you know what, if you get my taxi at this time of day, which is rush hour, it's going to cost you about $50. So I think you should get an Uber. Now, where do they do that at? I don't know. I've never been to a place where a person turned down business and recommended that you use another vendor. So I thought that was just a great example of how nice the people were. Clearly, he didn't want to take advantage of me and have me spending way more money than I needed to. So the Uber ride actually cost about $20 to get back here. So I was really happy about that. Let's see. So we did a city tour this morning, and so of course I have to do some follow-up research because I'm exhausted, so I wasn't really absorbing everything that our tour guide was saying. Plus, as I'm known to say, I have to forget some things to remember some new things because I feel like I'm on overload at this point. But our tour guide was great. We went to a number of different places. A few things that were really interesting. One is, and I'm going to find a picture and I'll put this again on the community side. There is a 10-story office building here on 9th Avenue that has a whole house on top of it, because one of the person who worked there lived far away and he got tired of the commute. So he built a house on top of the 10-story building. So we were able to see that, but we were on the van, so I couldn't quite get pictures, but I'll find a picture online and I will include it on the channel. So I thought that was interesting. Lots of good leather buys, although I was just in Portugal, so I'm all done with leather purchases. But lots of leather jackets, shoes, coats, everything you can think of. So it's been nice just even shopping and looking around. I did purchase a thing or two. So some of you know orange is like my favorite color. So every time I see something orange or something with orange in it, I have to buy it. So one of the things I got was this beautiful poncho. Let me see if you can get a full view. Let's see. And I thought this was really pretty, and I'll be able to get a lot of use out of this back home. So this was one of the things that I bought today. So I hope you like that. Another thing is they have this drink that they drink all over the country. They say it's not actually a tea, but it's the closest thing to a tea that I can think of. So it comes in, so you serve it in one of these little cups, and I don't know if you can see this. I don't want to take everything out of the package. These cups, this one is covered in leather. I've seen them also made from gourd or from wood. And so they use the tea or the herbs that you can find here. And our guy kept saying, it looks like marijuana, but it's not. I said, I don't know what kind of weed he's smoking. I've never seen no marijuana look like that, but I digress. Anyway, so it's not marijuana. It is herbs and spices, and they put it in hot water and put it in one of these cups. And then it comes with a sort of filter so that you can drink through the straw, but then you don't get any of the actual grains or seasonings and things that are contained in the tea. You don't actually get any of that in your mouth because it's all gets strained and filtered through this filter. So I thought this was a cute little gift for myself, and it has an explanation, although it's in Spanish, so I'll have to interpret that and figure out exactly what it says. But those were the two things that I bought today. We got a chance. Now, I know I said I was not really interested in visiting churches and things of that nature, and I'm still not. But we went to a church today, which was the church where the current Pope gave mass. And so that was really interesting, and I took several pictures there. And I really like this Pope. I'm not Catholic. I am Christian, but I'm not Catholic. But he seems to be a fair-minded, reasonable person to me. So I've been pretty impressed as popes go. So it was nice to see the church where he delivered mass. And right next to that is the cemetery where you find many famous Argentinians, but also where you'll find the mausoleum for Eva Peron, and many of you know about the movie Evita, which Madonna played it many years ago, and I think I'll have to go back and watch it again because there's a lot that I don't really remember that reflects the history of Argentina. So there's some pictures you'll find for that as well. We also talked a little bit about the tango and the origins of the dance, and I'm going to have a chance to take part tomorrow night, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be spending my birthday doing the tango and taking the tango lesson, so I'm excited. The tango, as I understand it, is a combination of the Spanish flamenco, the habanero from Cuba, and something called the candombe from Africa. Now, I asked what part of Africa, and it always bothers me. People see Africa as one country instead of a continent. So, of course, our guide didn't know. And I find this is no reflection on this particular guide, but I find this everywhere. Whenever it's some information about Africans or contributions from the African community, people rarely have that information, although you can Google most of it just like I did. So while we were on the van, after he gave the explanation, I went online to see what part of Africa it came from, and it was from Angola. So that's the origins of the tango. As you all also know, everywhere I go, I'm in search of understanding about the African contribution and the history within a particular country. And it goes without saying that Argentina was a part of the transatlantic slave trade, and about 200,000 people of African origin came here and were enslaved here. But it appears now that all of that history has been either hidden or erased. And in fact, I found what I think is a really good article that talks about it and describes it very much in that way. So I will also include that so you can take a look and read some of the history about the African contribution to Argentina. There's a tour that's now being developed and some other activities that are underway to help make this history become more well-known and a part of Argentinian history. As I understand it, in Argentina, they prefer to refer to themselves as a country of Europeans, actually, because it was an immigrant nation. So there are fewer indigenous people. Many of them have been moved to the northern part of Argentina. And in fact, there was a campaign at one point that eradicated many of the indigenous people as the Europeans were coming, as you know, they have done almost all around the world. But there are still indigenous people, but they're just located in other areas outside of Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires is mostly people from Spain, from France, from Italy, and other parts of the world. And there's still maybe about, I think, 5% of African descended people here. There is a community called Montserrat. I didn't get to see it yet. My sense, and again, nobody said that, but my sense is that this is basically a ghetto where all the black people live. It didn't seem to me that this was a community of culture and history where I could go and visit and learn more about the African contribution. So I am going to continue to investigate and see what I can find out, because I know that wherever we are in the world, we have contributed to that culture, that society, and they have borrowed from the continent. So much came with us on the transatlantic slave trade, and even though it may be, people may try to erase it or hide it or deny it, it is very much evident and present in the world. And so I really want to find out more about that. So one last thing, the money. So $1 is the equivalent of roughly 1,000 of their money, of pesos. I changed a $100 bill, and this is what I came away with, keeping in mind that I've already spent some of this, okay? So trying to walk around with this, with wads of money like this can be a bit challenging, but they have a 500 note, a 100 note, and a 1,000 note, and a 200. So some of you also know that I collect money from around the world whenever I travel. So I'll be bringing home some of their pesos. I haven't seen any coins yet, but I'll ask and see if they have that as well. So as I wrap up tonight, I'm taking an interesting, it's not actually a tour, but I purchased it on Viators, and I'm going to an individual's home, and they are hosting a small group, and they got 5-star ratings on Viator, by the way, but they host small groups on their rooftop, and they do a barbecue and traditional Argentinian food. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'll get a chance to meet with local people and taste some of the local foods. We did have an empanada at lunch today, which was very good. I enjoyed that. I tried one of the local beers. That was pretty good too. But I'm looking forward to having a real traditional and an authentic Argentinian meal. So that's all for me for now. I'm exhausted, but I got to go change clothes and get ready for the next thing. And I hope you all have a great time. Oh, one last thing. Merry Christmas, everybody. I almost forget this Christmas because it is not highly commercialized here. Perhaps they are more focused on the true meaning of the season, and that is the birth of Jesus Christ. So there doesn't appear to be that degree of commercialization that we see at home. So that's really been nice. And as I said, I almost forgot it's actually Christmas Eve. So I will be checking in either later tonight or early tomorrow. When I wake up, I will be 66 years old, y'all. So, woohoo! I made it, and so many people did not. So I feel truly blessed. Not only have I made it to 66, I never thought I was going to get grown, much less become a senior citizen. But I'm feeling so blessed that I have use of my limbs. I woke up in my right mind, and that I have wonderful friends like you all who are following me on this trip. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your families and your holidays, and I will be back in touch with you. So for now, that's all from the Fly Time Tea. Take care, and bye-bye.